Hey everybody, and welcome back to another fun and exciting pre-calculus class. In today's lesson, we're going to be continuing in chapter number 14. Every once in a while, it's nice to have an easy pre-calculus lesson, right? Well, today's the day. I think you're going to like today's lesson. I hate to use the word easy with pre-calculus because it's never really easy, but chapter 14, lesson 3, I think you might like this. So go ahead and open your book to page 279, page 279. So what you'll find on page 279 is that we're going to be doing polar coordinate graphing. Now, if you understood polar coordinate plotting from the last lessons, I think this is going to make a lot of sense to you. If not, you're probably going to have to go make sure that you work on the first two lessons in this chapter before this one will make sense to you. So here's what we're going to be doing. We can look over here. I've got it all written over here on the screen. Polar graphing. We're going to build a value chart using theta values. So in other words, we're going to plug in theta values. So theta equals 30 degrees, let's just say. We plug that in, and then whatever value it kicks out, that goes in the row column. All right, so whatever the rest of the equation is, that's what we'll plug in there. So one hint that we have here is that we're going to plug in 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 120 degrees, ... What does that mean? It means that you continue doing that every 30 degrees. So 150, 180, all the way till we get to 330. One quick observation, why wouldn't we go all the way to 360? I mean, I guess you could, but 360 is going to be the same as 0 because it's a circle, right? So when it comes back all the way around, they're going to land on the same spot. So you could do it for 360, but you'd be wasting your time a little bit. If you still need more details, so if it's kind of like you've got that all done and you start plotting your points and you're like, I can't really tell what it's doing here, you could add points to it. You could add 15, 45, 75, and so on. You could even add more detail if you wanted. You could keep going. You could do every 5 degrees. You'd have a massive chart by the time you were done, but you could do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You can give it as much detail as you want. Most of the ones that we're doing, though, you should be fine with 0, 30, 60, 90s, okay? So do all those all the way around, and then plot your points. And you have to go all the way around. Don't think, oh, what it looks like in 0, 30, 60, that's what it's going to look like in 120 and 150. All right, it might not. So you have to go all the way around this in order to get it to show you what the graph is actually going to look like. All right, let's take a look at page number 280, page 280 in your book. We want to graph rho equals 2 plus cosine of theta. Rho equals 2 plus cosine theta. So here's our table, okay? So we're going to have our theta values. So make your theta and just go 0, 30, 60, 90 all the way back. And they did 360. I can't believe they did that. But anyways, they got the same value for 360 as they did for 0. It's because it's a circle. That's what's going to happen. So let's talk about this. What is this? 2 plus cosine theta. Well, that's what your rho equals, right? So rho equals. So if you wanted to, you could put rho here instead of the 2 plus cosine theta. Either way, basically this column right here, this row right here. Uh-oh. So you ready for a dad joke? I throw dad jokes out every once in a while. So this row right here is rho. So this row is rho. You're like, that's not really funny. I know, I told you it was a dad joke. So anyways, deal with it. Anyway, so this is row, and no, don't bring your boat in here, okay? So we're going to row, and what we do to find what rho equals is we just work that out. So we plug in, work it out, easy peasy. 0 plugged into this, just do it. So 2 plus cosine 0. How do we do that? We're going to need our calculator for this. Obviously, if you have the unit circle memorized all the way around, that's going to make it a lot easier for you here. But we'll just go ahead and plug in. So we're going to do 2 plus cosine of theta, which our first one is 0. And that equals 3. There it is. There's our 3. That easy. I'm telling you. you got a calculator, you should be able to handle this, at least getting the values. It might be a little bit more challenging getting them onto the graph, again, if you were struggling with previous lessons. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and go back up here, and I'm just going to delete that out, and I'm just going to go to 30 degrees. So there's 30 equals, and okay, well, now what are we looking at? You can't really graph that, right? You can't graph 4 plus the square root of 3 over 2. Your calculator might give it to you in decimal right off. Mine always gives it to me in exact value. And then I can just hit this and get 2.866. We're going to round off to 1 decimal point, 2.9. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go back over there. We'll delete 30 and we'll put in 60. And 60 is going to give us 2.5. There it is. So it's really that easy. Okay, just plug them into your calculator, put the value here, and then fill that row in. Okay, fill the row in, and then you will have all of your values all the way down. Okay, now what? Now we take those values. So this is our point right here. Our point is going to be 3, 0. Now this is kind of written backwards, so if you want to put the row point on top, you can, the theta underneath. But when we write our points, remember when we're doing polar graphing, the row goes first and then the theta. So we'd have 3, 0. So if we come over here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then 0. So there's our point right there on 3, 0. Okay, we come up here to 30 degrees. And for that one, we go 2.9. So this one, again, we're coming all the way out here to the 3. We're really close to the 3. Here's the 30 degrees. And we would come in just a little bit. So you can see this one's just kind of bending in just a little bit from the 3. And then we would come over here to the next one here, 60. And we're going to go 2.5. So we come over here to 2.5. That's right here. And there's the 60 mark right there. Okay. We're going to keep going. So at 90, it's at the 2. So we'd come over here to the 2. Come over here. There's our 90 point at 2. All right, keep going. 120. And this is why I told you have to do all of it. Don't just think, oh, I can just match these up. Notice these are not matching up to these. Okay. Now, these ones match up to these ones. And there's reasons for that. Why is that? Because cosine is positive in the first and the fourth, and it's negative here in the second and the third. So there's going to be some pattern forming with these, and as you continue to do them, you may see some of the patterns, but for right now, plot all of the points all the way around, and then once you're done, you would take your pencil or your pen, and you would draw your smooth curve connecting those. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be really close. And believe it or not, you're done. So that, like I said, this is not that difficult of a lesson if you've been paying attention the last 2 lessons. So we're just kind of putting it all together right here. So let's go ahead and just do one of these, because I mean, literally the lesson is over. I've already taught you. There's only one example, but let's do one of these so that you're kind of on the same page, not just looking at the example. I'll have you watch me go through it. So rho equals 1 plus sine theta. All right. So there it is, rho equals 1 plus sine theta. I've kind of already built this out a little bit. I've got all the theta values in my box, and then I have my rho here ready to go. My rho is ready to go, you know? All right, I'll stop. Sorry. All right, rho equals 1 plus sine theta. Let's actually bring that down just a little bit, because we're actually just going to get the calculator out and go for it. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to plug this in. So 1 plus sine, and then we're just going to start plugging in theta values and then writing them in. So 0 equals 1. So come over here and write a 1 for the value of 0. And then we'll come back and we'll do our next one, and we're just going to have to kind of go back to this. We'll delete this out and we'll put in 30. And we get 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So this next one is 1.5. And we're just going to keep going down this. Let's do one more, and then I'll go ahead and fill in some values for you. So we'll do 60. equals, and we get 1.886 or 1.9. All right, so we're just going to keep going down this. I'll go ahead and fill in the rest of the chart, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here is all of our values for our row. And, you know, we kind of, if we follow this, we see a pattern. So 1, 1.5, 1.9, 2, and then we go back down, 1.9, 1.5, 1. So you can see this kind of pattern form right here. There's a reason for that, because sign is positive in the first and second. So these are going to mirror each other in the first and second. Then we see once we get over here into the third and fourth that sign is negative. So we see it doing another pattern, 0.5, 0.10, 0.1, 0.5, okay? And so we see that pattern kind of form there. Just so you can know, I told you that the 360 is always going to equal the 0. We can kind of just do that just to verify that. So we have this, and then we'll put in 360, and that gives us 1. So the 360 always equals the same as 0 because it's a circle wrapping back around. All right, so there we go. And we are now ready to go ahead and graph this. Okay, now, since on graph paper, polar graph paper, like if we did 1 as the inner circle, think about this. We're only dealing in this really tiny, small little area between 1 and 2 because all of our row numbers are between 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of blow this up just a little bit, and I'm going to make this be basically every one of these circles right here. I'm going to make this be 0.2. So this will be 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. There's 1. There's 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, and 2. Okay. Now I just scaled that basically, and the reason I scaled that is because I want it to look right. I want our loop to look right when we do this loop here. So we're going to come here, and our first row is going to be at 1, and it's going to be at 1, 0. So we're going to come out here, and we're going to be at the 1 right here and at the 0. So 1, 0 would go right here. Okay, and I'll make these points a little bit bigger so you can see them, hopefully. And then we'll come back here. At the 1.5, we're at 30 degrees. So at 30 degrees, we're going to be at the 1.5. So we're going to be in between the 1.4 and the 1.6, and we're up here at the 30 degrees. So we're somewhere right in here. All right, next we're going to come over here, and we want the 90 degrees, the 60 degrees, sorry. The 60 degrees is at 1.9. So at 60 degrees, we're at 1.9. So we're almost way out here. Almost at the 2, 1.9 is in between here somewhere, so right about there. Then at the 90, we're at 2. So we'll come out here to 90, and we'll be all the way out here at 2. So you can kind of see the curve showing up right now. You know, it's going to look something like this as we go out. Now, this is where you could plot points here on like 75 and 45, but I think we can see where it's going. It doesn't seem to be doing anything funny like, you know, anything like this. It seems to be giving us a nice smooth curve coming around. So I think we'll be okay with just plotting the 30, 60, 90 points. So let's keep going around. The 120 is going to mirror the 60, so that will be right here. Our 150 point was going to mirror the 30 point, so that'll be right here, coming around here at the 150. And then the 180 point mirrors the 0 point, so that was right here on the 1. So we'll follow this 1 all the way around to the 180. And there we go. Okay, so now we've got the top half filled in. And then we'll just kind of go back over here, and 210 is going to be 0.5. Come over here, there's 0.4, 0.6, so we're in this little area right here in the middle, so we'll follow this one all the way around here. And we're halfway between there, and then that's at the 210. So right there would be our 210 point. All right, and then we are at 140, we're at 0.1, so that one's really tight in there. So at 240, we're right in here in the middle, so at 0.1. All right, and then we come out to 0. 270 is actually all the way back to the pole. So 270 right here goes to the pole. And then at 300, we're at 0.1. So at 300, we're back here. So there's our 300. So we're right back here, tight in here. And then this one matches here on the 330. So we'll come over here to the 330. All right, so now we can go ahead and draw what our graph is going to look like. So we're going to come over here, and this isn't going to be perfect, but it'll be close. And then let's kind of finish it off here. We're going to come in tight and then come back out here. All right, so there we go. That is what our graph looks like of 1 plus sine theta. All right, so what do you think about that? Not too bad, right? You just got to follow the steps that we've been learning in the last couple lessons, and you should be okay there. All right, so try some of these practice problems. Make sure that you're graphing it on your own piece of paper. Get your chart all filled out. Follow the pattern that's going on there, and you should be able to see the shape that it forms. Now, again, if you need more detail, add the 15, the 45, the 75, add those 15 increments, and that will help you to see the shape a little bit better. That's all I've got for you. Hope you have a good one. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.